Okay guys, this is clip number 48. We're on page 40, event number 9. So if you remember, there's 14 of these events in this part of the book, in this appendix. So 9 means we're more than halfway. And even though each page looks about the same as the others in terms of the structure, that's what this page looks like. Okay? In your workbook. Looks like there's a lot on here. We may have 3 or 4 clips on event number 9, page 40. I feel a little better. I wasn't feeling very good earlier, to tell you the truth, and I know this is about goals and changing, but I'm a human being too. I'm not just some rah-rah guy standing in front of the class screaming at you about how wonderful life can be. So, anyway, let's get started here. Joan wrote us a nice thing at the top. I am willing to take bigger steps. So that's kind of nice. He's willing to take bigger steps. So after a few months of walking casually by parking the car farther from his appointments, Glenn began walking in the morning. Glenn realized that for years he wanted to start walking, but his fear kept him from doing so. Now that's important because he himself, just a few steps back, didn't realize consciously that he had wanted to start walking. It was hidden from his own self. And that's a hard place to be, where you don't really even know, you're not really even in touch with your own desire of how you would want things to be. I mean, he doesn't have to be making these changes. This is something he's chosen to do. He picked the goal. He helped design the steps. So, you know. So that's what's happening. He's realizing he wanted to start. He organized his life around his fear in the past by doing things and saying things that supported his fear rather than his desire to start walking, which partly because he wasn't even in touch with the desire to start walking. So Glenn began making agreements with himself about walking. So he started making agreements with himself, which is very cool and pretty practical. You know, you don't necessarily have to go into the whole formal agreements thing when you're in this phase. Glenn began looking at his own habits. Now he asked himself questions that would help define his agreement with himself. Here are some of the questions he asked himself. He asked, what time of day would be best for me to do my walking? So he's making it comfortable and convenient, workable and doable. We talked about things being workable and doable. What can I do to make the experience more doable and more enjoyable? Even enjoyable is good, right? What can I do to make it more likely I will walk? So he's just doing everything he can. Design it so it's workable, fun, doable, enjoyable. You know, try to get himself on a certain page psychologically. Okay, Glenn decided to start walking early in the morning. He made sure that he got plenty of rest the night before. Glenn reflected on his own past unwillingness to start walking and realized that he would have to agree with himself to walk every day if he were to do it. So he's realizing that in his case he needs an agreement to get it done. Okay? Alright. Walking 3 or 4 times a week left too many loopholes as far as he was concerned. Again, he is defining his own approach. This is his own approach. He's making this up. Okay? Glenn bought a Walkman so he could listen to music while he walked. Now obviously you can tell this book was written many, many years ago. Actually was written in 96 and 97, and the copyright on this edition is 2001, the latest copyright. So that's 11 years ago. What are some of the characteristics we can use to define a personal agreement that we make for ourselves? Okay, so this is the homework, and it's going to take some thinking on your part. What are some of the characteristics we can use to define a personal agreement that we make for ourselves? Let me give you some examples that we've written down at the bottom of the page. And I think Joan did these, I'm not sure. Maybe I did them, I don't remember. Examples of what helps us define these characteristics, the ones that help us, that we think of. Number one, getting to know exactly what we want to achieve as deeply as possible. And two, knowing what we are willing and able to do. So both willing, what are we willing to do, and what are we able to do? Do not stretch yourself farther than you can go, okay? And it's always good to check in with your doctor before a project like this. And if you think there's something that needs to be addressed, go back to your doctor and say, look, now my foot's hurting, or now my back's starting to hurt or something. If you can afford it, get a physical therapist to guide you if you want, or a chiropractor. It's fine to have plenty of support, in what you're doing, okay? So just do that carefully. Again, if you have any problems or anything you want to talk to us about, my email is MIPC, that's MIPC 441 at Gmail. The MIPC stands for Mark Isaac Potter Communications. Alright? So, yep. And Joan's not working on this particular project with me. If you need a lady's point of view, let me know and I'll see what I can do. Alright, you might feel more comfortable speaking to a woman about some of this stuff. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.